Welcome to Conversations with Kenya. It's your girl, Coach K, your life do-over advocate. Welcome to another episode. We are excited to have you joining us on a different day. We're excited because we're here on a Sunday instead of a Thursday. But hey, I have an amazing guest for you guys, and it's the reason that we changed from Thursday to Sunday. It's your girl, Coach K, your life do-over advocate. And this platform, you guys, is to inform, educate, encourage, uplift, especially those that are returning citizens, especially those that have been affected or impacted by the criminal justice system in a negative way. We come to help push change some things because we want to change some things. We've come to inspire and give information about how we can collaborate, come together, and really make a difference, y'all. Really make a difference and not just be having conversations, but making a difference in these conversations. So I am excited to welcome my guest tonight, y'all. It is the amazing, awesome, and he don't like all that stuff, but I'm going to say it because he has been since the very conversation we had, which probably happened in church and not in the streets. And Mr. Corey Givens Jr., you know, I was leaving out that junior. I didn't know he
My
was
daddy
a
will say, don't forget that junior. They don't need to talk about me.
Listen, he is a junior, and I probably knew it, but just didn't focus on it. But he's come to the table tonight with me to discuss some very important issues and topics. I heard him talking about making some changes for returning citizens. I say, I got to have him on the show. Got to have him on the show. He talking my language now. And so I'm going to let the amazing Councilman District 7 newly elected, and we loving the work that he's doing in our city, you guys. He in the trenches. He's doing the work. I just shared earlier with some others, like everywhere I go, I see him. And that's a good thing. Everywhere I go, I find Corey at places you wouldn't expect. Corey was at my 2-year-old preschool graduation, y'all, and it gave my heart so much joy to have him there speaking to our babies. And so I'm going to let him introduce himself, say a few things, and then we're going to dive into this conversation tonight.
Of course. Thank you so much, Coach K. Miss Kenya, it's a pleasure being here this evening. You know, I was telling earlier, I say I'm Baptist, but I went to an AME church today, and it was Family and Friends Day, and they had a Baptist preacher. So, you know, we stayed late, and we ate afterwards, right? So I'm full, got the itis, but I'm also ready to go and eat that banana pudding that I brought home with me. So I am so excited to be here today, and I'm super excited to be able to talk about something that's passion for me, and that is our ex-offenders, right? Their reentry into society and what we can do as elected officials to set policies, to make legislation, to enact ordinances that will make their transition back into life easier, right? We know that nothing is ever going to be normal for them again, but it's our job to at least give them a sense of normality, right? To provide that balance, to provide those opportunities and those pathways to a better way. So I'm just excited, you know, to be 33 years old, 6 months into this role as a city council member, but able to have a seat at the table.
Wow.
And to be able to have a voice in the room and to really impact change. So I'm excited to really talk about some of those changes today.
Wow. Listen, you guys, he just touched on so many things in a few seconds that really is dear to my heart. So most of you guys that follow me know that, like I said, this platform is for, we tailor it to returning citizens. And most of you that know my story know that I have a son who's currently doing his 8th bid. And it's really the reason that I'm very passionate about doing this. And then I was just able to be in a position that allowed me to work with returning felons 5 days a week, right? However, one of the things, Councilman, me being there, is I learned it was so important for God to reveal this to me, is that it never was this was the first position I had that didn't feel like work. that I literally felt like I was in purpose, operating in
There you
purpose
go.
and from purpose. And so every single day, I'd never been on a job where when I hit that clock, everything stayed in that office. I'm going home. Don't call me. I don't want to talk
Mhm.
about no work. I don't. But this particular position, I carried these individuals home with me every single day. And I realized it wasn't a burden.
Mm.
I'm telling you, by the end of the week, I'm burned out because we in this flesh, right? Physically,
Yep.
mentally, emotionally, because I'm pouring, I'm
Mhm.
pouring. And I remember going home and saying, God, like I'm really tired. And he said, listen, if you don't empty out, I
Mhm.
can't refill
There
you.
you go.
And so every Friday they graduate, which was like the refreshing, the refueling, because for 3 weeks I've watched people that walk through that door on a Monday and that Friday, 3 weeks later, totally different.
Mm.
And I've been able to pour into
Wow.
them. So, one of the things I'm really excited to talk about with you tonight, Mr. Councilman, is the importance of some of these things that they're doing, that some of the organizations in our community are doing.
Mm.
But one of the things I've learned is that we're not doing enough
Yeah.
of it. And so we're going to dive right into, I'm going to ask a few questions. This is usually not how we do this, but we're going to start with some questions, because I got the councilman here and we want to touch on some things. And then we're going to just, whatever come out,
Go
come
with the
out.
flow.
Let's go. And so my first question is, what specific initiatives has the local government implemented to support individuals re-entering to society after incarceration, and how do these programs address the challenges that they face?
Great question. So, this is important because people need to understand that although we have made progress, there's still
Mm,
room for more, right? So, Pinellas County has a number of programs to help
mhm,
formerly incarcerated individuals
mhm.
get reintegrated back into
Yep.
society, right? They provide financial assistance,
Mhm.
help with housing, right? There are programs that are in house, right? In judicial programs, and it's pre diversion,
Okay.
and it's there to help those folks who, before they get released, they
Yeah.
help them find that housing, they help them land that job, and they help them sort of transition. And that's great,
Yeah.
but there's so much more. And
Yes.
you and I
Yes.
know this because
Yes.
we have family members who have been
Yes.
incarcerated. And as loved ones of those family members, we understand that the struggle is real,
It's
right? And
real.
it's so much harder than just getting out, finding a job, getting housing. No, and there's so much red tape, government bureaucracy
So
that
much.
limits that. It's difficult. And so I have discovered that I can do something about that
Ah!
in this
I love
position.
it.
And
Love it.
so I have also discovered that there are so many stipulations in place, but there are so many programs that
Mhm.
Pinellas County has in place, which makes us unique,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
you
Yes.
have PERC,
Yes.
the Pinellas Ex Offenders Reentry Coalition.
Mhm.
They are an out services program, outhouse program, out services, outpatient, whatever you want to call them. They are outside of the jailhouse, and they are here to help folks
Yes.
who are in the community, who have been returning, who are returning citizens, who have been incarcerated, get reintegrated into that
Yes.
society.
Yes.
And so they're helping them with everything that I mentioned,
Mhm.
housing, right?
Mhm.
Finding a place
Absolutely.
that will allow a felon with a record
Yes.
to get a place to stay, right? We all need a
Which is
roof over our
important.
head. So when
Yes.
they don't get that, what happens? They end up homeless.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people don't have family members to come
Mhm.
back to.
Mhm.
And so we got to remember that we have to be empathetic leaders.
Yes.
And that includes recognizing the fact that there are policies that need to change in our
Yes.
housing, right?
Yes.
There's so much red tape in the Pinellas County Housing Authority and the St. Pete Housing Authority that limits those
Yes.
people who
Yes.
have records from being able to
Absolutely.
obtain a voucher. And then you look at employment, right? Yes, St. Pete's banned the box, but we can do more.
We can do more, and we have to do
Have
more.
to. Yep.
And being thrust, I say now because for years I didn't understand my pull towards returning citizens. I didn't understand my passion. For years I didn't, and I'm grateful for this position that I was in. However, I'm going to say about 3 years ago, it really started to become clear. God really began to bring clarity and then which lane I was to manifest in and get in and cultivate, right? And one of those lanes is definitely employment. So recently I was able to, this is going to excite you, Corey. Recently I was able to secure, so I have a staffing agency, right? And it's always been towards medical, right? And so 3 weeks ago, I said, let me relaunch, let me do some things, because what I learned in the last almost year is that we have a lot of employers out here that say, yep, we are felon friendly, right? There's a whole list floating around that, and there are tons of employers that are on that list. But if you take and you put a felon and a non-felon in front of them, who do you think they're choosing?
Exactly.
The non-felon, right? And so my desire is to really connect with these employers and build relationships, right? Because one of the things I was tired of doing is begging for my people, because these my people, right? I was tired of begging for them to get employed. So amazing thing happened a couple of weeks ago where I was able to contract with a major company, and I'm not going to disclose that company right here. I'll share it, Corey. Able to contract with a major company who's new to our area, right? And expanding. And they have agreed that they are going to, every person that they hire, because I went in, I'm like you, Corey, I'm everywhere, right? And I believe in getting in people's faces and making and believing for you to, and holding you accountable to what you say, right? And so had the opportunity to meet with the manager and then meet with the owner. And they have agreed that every person they hire in the St. Pete area for this 25 plus positions is going to come through me. And they've agreed. So I'm going to need you, listen, we'll talk about, I get excited when I talk about it, because they've agreed, because I went to them, I say, hey, every person I send you is going to have a pass. I'm not even trying to help employ those who do not. Like, these are my people, and I know they're the ones that struggle, just like you said, the most with getting employment, and not just getting it. Because some of them, I would get jobs, Corey, and they'd hire them, they'd work them for 3 weeks and say, oh, your background is too bad, but you let me work for 3 weeks, right? And so that's what I want to see. I want to see more employers. Not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. And so I'm open to any suggestions or any collaborations that my company or any other can do with the city to get these employers to be to hold their word, to keep their word.
You said it. We gotta hold them accountable. Not just the employers, but the elected officials too, right?
See, that's why you're here. That's why you're here.
You talk about things that happen in the city. Let's just use redevelopment, right?
Okay.
Tropicana Field. You're going to have a lot of subcontractors that are going to be coming into the city. You got Tropicana Field, the roof getting ready to get put back on right now, right? They're going to be looking for labor. Some of that labor is going to be outsourced, meaning they're going to take that labor from out of town and bring it in town to take jobs that could have been hired locally. And when I say hiring locally, that means having ordinances, laws in place, rules that require employers to hire certain people, and that means local folks. And we have to also make sure when we push for local hiring, that local hiring bans the box, and not just like you say it for the sake of the paper, right? Just saying we got it on the application, but being intentional, right? Making sure human resources and management understands that we have to give people a chance, right? These folks have paid their debt to society. They deserve a second chance, and we can't just say it. We gotta mean it. We gotta do it.
We gotta do it. That's one of the if you've seen my page, not only am I Coach K, but I'm a life do-over advocate. And I'm tell you, that thing came from God. And when I tell you I embody that, like, I believe that everybody needs an opportunity for a life do-over, right? Everybody does, but especially I sat with 2 young men on Friday who just graduated from the Operation New Hope program, and I said to these 2 men, I said, share with me You've been a part of this program for 3 weeks, right? Share with me this between you and I.
Mhm.
What is it that was missed? What is it that you needed more of and didn't get? What could we have done better? How can we
Right.
better assist you guys to be successful?
Mhm.
Because I don't want to just get you a job. I want to help you retain the job.
Yeah.
I want to give you a job that's going to pay you enough money that
Mhm.
doesn't make you lean toward going and doing something illegal
Thank you.
because you can't pay your bills,
Can't make
because you
you.
can't take care of your family. And so I wanted to sit with two people who now because they're lived experience, right?
Mhm.
They just come home from prison,
Mhm.
and they are trying to obtain employment. And just let me just go ahead and shout out, did get both of them employed.
Awesome.
But I did. That's dear to my heart. But one of the things, councilman, they shared with me was that they feel like after being released, right? After they've done their sentence, then they feel like they're doing another sentence
Yeah.
because they can't get proper employment, because they
Mhm.
can't get housing. And so my fight, as I join in with you, what are the steps? What are some of the steps, we, just me, because
Mhm.
I don't have the access that you have. What can I do better as an organization to help you
Mhm.
to help them?
Great question. We discussed this before. We cannot, at this point in time, at least not until 2028, depend on the federal government or the
Period.
state government to step up and fight step up
Okay.
and fight for our ex-offenders,
Mm-hmm.
our returning citizens. It is on us as a community, local government officials, to step up and to advocate for those who have been disenfranchised. And that includes our ex offenders, right?
Mm,
Our most vulnerable populations
mm,
deserve to have an advocate.
mm.
Jesus said, if you do it for the least of them, you do
Come
it for
on
me.
now.
So, how can these so called Christians
My God.
say that they are Christians and they love their fellow man, but they want to castigate and ridicule and almost disenfranchise their fellow man by making it impossible for them to find employment and housing and just basic things that you need to live?
Basic.
It starts, you say, what can we do? It starts with showing up.
Okay.
So local government can fund programs like Operation New Hope, Life from the Inside Out with Mr. John Bailey. All these organizations that are doing the work, our city government should be able to say, hey, we may not have a lot, but what we do have, we think our people, right, even those returning citizens, are worth investing
Yes.
in.
Yes.
And that's what we have to do. We have to put people over politics, right?
Yeah.
The way I see it is baseball is politics. We don't need to put all this money into something that's going to be played out in 2 years.
Can we say it for the people in the back that maybe didn't hear that?
We don't need to invest our money in something
My
that is
God.
not going to have a return on the investment. And to me, people are the best investment.
Ah, you heard it right here on Conversations with Kenya. Listen, oh my God, I'm so honored to be sitting here having this conversation with
I'm
you.
honored.
This thing is so dear to my heart that it's, the thing that you eat, sleep, wake up thinking about. Like that's who I am, Councilman. Is I wake up trying to figure out, after I talk to God. I talk to God first.
Thank you.
After I talk to God, I'm meditating on what can I, Kenya,
Mm-hmm.
what can I do better for, because I have a son that's going to be released soon.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want him to be able to, I want in 2 years, when he's released, 18 months, something like that, but that when he walk out of those doors, there is something in place for him that's really going to help him push forward. I am so grateful for Felons Ain't Failures. I am so
Mm-hmm.
grateful for Life Inside Out. I'm grateful for Operation New Hope. But just as Councilman said, there is so much more to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to get to doing it, y'all, because these individuals are suffering.
Mm-hmm.
They're suffering and they're being denied the basic things.
The basic
Just
thing.
housing, just employment. They just want now we know everybody don't want another opportunity. We know there's always going to be some bad apples in the bunch, right?
Always.
Like we ain't perfect. Ain't none of us perfect. We know that. However, those that really want to make a difference, those that really have made up in their mind, I want to do this different. I want to be better. I don't want to go
Thank
back
you.
to the old way.
No.
We got to position them.
Yeah.
We got to put them in position to win, to be
Yeah.
successful.
Yeah.
I told those two men on Friday, listen, anything you need from me, if I can't do it, I'm going to find somebody that
Yeah.
can because I need you to be successful.
Yeah.
I need you to have the opportunity to do life
Mhm.
over and do it to the best of your
Yeah.
ability
Yeah.
with the tools and the steps and the keys and all those things that these organizations offer. And with that, I'm going to say this and turn it back over to you, Councilman. I think we have one more question. What I've learned in the last year, working closely, very closely, with returning citizens, and like they're you can't discriminate, but you
Mhm.
can't put them all in a box because we're uniquely and wonderfully
Mhm.
made, right? So everybody's story is different.
Everybody.
What works for one may not work for the other one. And so we can't generalize, I believe I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
And so what I've learned, and actually not what was revealed, and I'm actually in the process of implementing what I think will be solutions to it, is that we can give these individuals the resources.
Yeah.
Councilman, we can give them the tools. Councilman, we can give them the steps. We can give them the how to. But if we don't deal with that individual
Mhm.
and develop into this new version of themselves,
Mm.
to be able to take these new steps, these new keys, these new
Mhm.
the new resources, all of these things that we're offering, if it's like putting new wine in old skin.
Yeah. There you go.
And so I know one of the things I'm really focused on is developing these individuals into that next best version. So now that they have these tools, now that they have these steps, they're not trying to do them the old man way
Mhm.
with the old mindset. Speak on that for me.
Yeah. Well, we prevent a person from reoffending, and we end that recidivism rate by ensuring that there is not just programs
Mhm.
but investments in people, intentional
Thank you.
investments in people. It's going to
Thank
take a
you.
holistic approach, right? And I really do think the city of St. Petersburg has taken strides in recent years, especially
Absolutely.
programs like yours and others,
Absolutely.
and even organizations like the Perk with their STARS
Yes,
program.
absolutely.
STARS is specifically focused on doing that, just that, making
Yes.
sure that we can employ people in these roles, and even the Second Chance Tiny Homes
Yes.
program.
Yes. Yes.
There are unique programs out there where we are focused on investing in the individual, and that also has been expanded with the hub, right? A person
Yes.
can go there and get mental health
For free.
counseling for free, up to 15 sessions, y'all, and you can even get family therapy as well. So obviously family trauma,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
What we deal with when our loved one has been incarcerated in and out for extended periods of time, that's traumatizing.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
we have to have someone who we can talk to, somewhere we
Yes.
can go, a non-judgmental zone, a
Yes.
safe space.
Yes.
And it is important for our returning citizens to have that safe space. And the county, the city has really done their due diligence to try
Yeah.
to give
Yes.
them that.
Yes.
But again, like you said, you can give a person all these tools, all these resources. That individual
Yes.
has to be willing to step up
Yes.
and to say no more,
Yes.
no longer, no more living in that lifestyle. No longer will
Yes.
I go back to my old ways, but I'm going to take advantage of these resources and these programs. And I want any
Yes.
individual who's ever been a returning
Yes.
citizen, who's ever offended and they found themselves having to reintegrate into society, if they're struggling, know know that we are happy. I'm happy as your councilman, Corey Givens. Reach out to me.
Yes,
I am happy to
yes.
connect you to those resources and those programs that are at your disposal.
Yes, and so if we could, I would like for you, because what I've learned is it's more men than women. Women are typically easy to direct to therapy. They're more receptive of it, right? It's the men that we find who I don't need no therapy. Even my son, one of them, I say, no, son, you can't give the Department of Correction that many years of your life and not need counseling, not need somebody to talk to about what went on behind those bars. So if you could take a second and look into that camera and encourage our men out there, especially those that look like you and I, that therapy is a safe place and it's needed. It's needed. If you've had any dealings with the Department of Correction, if you've ever spent a day in jail, I believe you need to see somebody. And so I'm grateful that we've come a long way. Yes. Oh my, we've come a long way. We talk about it more freely. More people are going to therapy, but being people who have dealt with incarceration, it's different for them. And I've learned that, right? It's different for them to be, and especially the men, to be receptive of that. Do you go to therapy?
Yes. I tell them, I say, I talk to my preacher, but I also talk to my therapist, you know. You need it.
Yeah.
You need it. And I want any man, especially who's listening to this, to know that it is okay not to be okay. It is okay to have struggles, to have issues, to face challenges that are difficult to overcome. But it's also okay to have somebody to walk through those struggles with you, to just thug it out with you, right? You can't ride the wave alone. Everybody needs somebody. And if that somebody has to be a professional, a licensed mental health counselor or therapist, then let that be your individual who you go to, who you confide in, who you share your burdens to. Because again, if you keep all of that stuff built up, it will kill you. It will eat you. It will take you to places that you can't come back from.
That's right.
And so we want our returning citizens to understand that PTSD is real.
It's real.
You will have post-traumatic stress disorder from returning from a place where you have been locked in, locked down, and taken away from your loved ones. You deal with traumatizing experiences, but it is okay to talk to somebody about not being okay.
Oh, yeah. From the mouth of the councilman and the best councilman, I believe, right here in the city of St. Pete.
I didn't pay her to say that.
He did not. Listen, and
I don't.
Most people know I don't lie. I don't even know how to be fake and phony. I really don't. Okay, so we're gonna close out with this question here, because it's important to me, and I'm sure it's important to some other organizations that's out there listening or come back and listen to this. How can local government collaborate with businesses to create job opportunities for those entering the workforce, and what incentives are available to employers? That's really good. Employers who hire individuals with a criminal background. So I know we touched on a little bit of it, but if you'd like to go a little deeper into that, how can those organizations, the Inside Out, the House of Grace, Felons Ain't Failures, how can we collaborate and come together with the local government to get in these businesses' faces?
Yeah, well, obviously we talked about Tropicana Field, you know, and that redevelopment that's imminent. But also you got companies like Nike that's going to be coming here, right? That is a Fortune 500 company, which means money.
Yes, sir.
And we're not talking about Tropicana Field $15 an hour jobs, right? We are talking about sustainable living wage paying jobs. But holding our elected officials accountable, holding these companies and their leadership accountable, and demanding that our returning citizens have opportunities to be not only interviewed, but employed.
Yes.
It is important that we advocate, right? Because we have to advocate for those who don't have an advocate of their own, right? And if they don't have a seat at the table or a voice in the room, they have one now. I think it's important also to speak to the housing issue,
Yes,
right? We
absolutely.
have to really have some serious conversations with our local housing
Yes,
authorities to
yes,
talk about changing policies and who is allowed to apply and actually receive a voucher. I think it really there's still discrimination alive and
absolutely,
well within those realms, especially in
absolutely.
HUD, the housing and urban development departments. I also think it's important that we advocate for those returning citizens who are looking for shelter, right? And
Yes,
I'm not just
yes.
talking about a roof over their head. I'm talking about a safe space
Space.
to
Yes,
go and to share space and
yes,
life from the inside out. Mr. John Bailey, I
yes,
look at his organization. I'm looking at Operation New Hope, and these are organizations that I actually have worked directly
yes,
with,
yes.
and they can do more. But again, it costs to provide housing. It costs to be able to have like you said, career programs and
Yes,
career
yes, yes,
opportunities, staffing
absolutely.
agencies that are
Yes,
out there helping these people get jobs.
jobs.
It costs. And the
It's
way
not
we
free.
keep these organizations and programs
Mm-hmm.
going is by funding them.
Yeah,
So, what
yeah,
can local government
yeah.
do? We can make sure that our budget is reflective of our population and our constituency,
Mm,
right? And that includes our returning citizens.
yes.
We got to make sure,
Wow.
look, if we can throw $56 million at baseball, we can invest $1 million
At least a
at
million.
least, right, in housing specifically
For
for our returning
returning
citizens,
citizens.
right?
Come on
We
now.
can make sure that this new development of 86
Come
acres
on now.
has at
They
least a
need they
good
own.
duplex. Come on now, or something, but we can't let nothing just go by. We can't let these projects keep popping up and
Jesus.
we aren't speaking up.
Wow. Man, you just said a mouthful. And it touches my heart to hear your passion
Yeah.
for this area.
Yeah. And Coach K, if I can just
No,
add,
go right
the
ahead.
budget process. We are 2 weeks away from the beginning
Come
of our
on.
budget cycle for fiscal year 26, which starts in October, right? If we don't make sure that
Okay.
our returning citizens
Come on.
have a piece of that
Come
pie,
on.
because again, they're taxpayers too.
That's right.
So we have to make sure that
Wow.
they are getting opportunities and these programs are being funded in that budget. So that
Mm,
means showing up at City Hall, meeting
mm,
with council members and with mayors. And if these elected
mm.
officials and state government leaders as well, because they can pull money out of the state budget.
That's right.
So if these elected officials
I'm
don't
excited.
do what they say they're going to do, which is advocate for you, they don't deserve to have a seat at the
They
table.
do not.
We got to vote
Oh
them out.
my God. Period. Listen, so man, you have come here this evening, Councilman. Let me say I'm so grateful to have you, but you have put a fire. You have you have relit or got the fire in me burning even more. So let's turn it up
I was gonna
three
say it was
times.
already lit. We just got you a
Let's
little
turn
bit
it up.
hotter.
Let's turn it
You just
up.
a little bit hotter.
You have come and turned that fire up. And I'm telling you, most of you that follow me know you hear me talk about being on the front line all the time because this thing is dear to my heart. I don't do it for likes, I don't do it for profit. I do it for those who don't have the voice to speak for themselves. And that's why I'm the life do over advocate for life do over opportunity. I believe in these people, man. I
So do
believe
I.
and they deserve the same thing we have. They deserve access to
Necessities.
housing. I'm currently just I'm working on my second, but I have started transit well, and it's something. So my organization, Councilman, is the House of Grace. God gave that to me in 2017, right?
Praise God.
2019, he said, okay. And I still, and 21, he said, okay, at the onset of COVID, he said, I need you to go forward.
Be obedient.
And so I became established 501c3 in 2021. And it has been, and let me say this because a lot of people don't know that God birthed that thing from my own personal experience with
Mm.
homelessness. He gave me that vision because I needed somewhere that was conducive to what I needed and where I needed to go, and I couldn't find it. And he said, because I've given it to you to do. And so we house women
Mm.
returning. and we give them the environment that's conducive to not just giving them a bed, y'all, because we can't just give people beds. People need more than beds and rooms. People need a space and an environment that's going to be conducive to their growth, right? To them becoming the best version of themselves. So I get
going from lockdown to lockdown is not mentally healthy.
Jesus.
Just saying.
Gee, wow.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, but I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna steal that. I'm writing it right now. From lockdown to lockdown. That's powerful. And so, yeah, we're on this mission, man, of making changes, but changes that will impact. Not just, we ain't sitting here just talking about this thing, you guys. I already know the heart of this man, and it's one of the reasons he got my vote. It's because from the very first conversation, I've believed in him.
Thank you.
And in his message and his hunger for making a difference in this community. We just briefly got to talk about why we still here in the city. And we know that we called to the city of St. Pete. So I appreciate you, Councilman. I appreciate your work. I appreciate what you're doing. And I can tell you right now, the House of Grace, Felons Ain't Failures, Life from the Inside Out, we're getting behind you to push because you have the heart of our people, those that we are calling. Not saying you don't have the heart of others, but it's not too many local government that really have the heart for returning citizens.
Yeah. Well, you know, for me, it's personal.
Yeah.
And I have had many family members who have been impacted by incarceration. Hasn't affected me as an individual, but it has affected me as an individual.
Absolutely.
Because, again, this thing doesn't just affect that person who has been sentenced. This is a family sentence. Thank you. And so it is important to understand that we have to have advocates. And I thank you, Coach K. I thank you for being an advocate. And I thank people like Dr. Moore at Operation New Hope and Mr. John Bailey. I thank you all for always advocating because it's not easy. It's not rewarding. This ain't a popular conversation. It ain't hot always, right? This is something that needs to be discussed. And we're going to continue to advocate and continue to fight for change because that's what we need.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's your girl, Coach K, here at Conversations with Kenya, and my heart is full tonight. My heart is full tonight, and but in a really great way. And as I said, he has definitely turned up the fire 3 times more in me because this is my topic. This is my lane. This is where my joy comes. The joy of the Lord is my strength, but I'm empowered. I'm refreshed when I get to sit and talk with others that share the same passion that I do for my people. These are my people. So thank you guys for joining us. You can reach Council Givens if you just go to
stpete.org/District 7, or you can email me at Corey, Corey.Givens, Givens, at stpete.org.
Let's get behind this man, you guys. He's here, and he's here to make impact and make changes, and we are honored to have you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. You can catch the full episode of Conversations with Kenya, my conversation with Councilman Givens here. Next Wednesday, the full episode will drop. We'll see you guys soon. I'm out. Coach K.